What's good, fellow shadows? Welcome back to Shadow Gym. I am your gracious host, curator, shadow personal trainer, Torin Gooley. So, I deleted my last two videos. All right, I just started this YouTube channel. I know that seems like a crazy thing to do for somebody who just started the channel, and on top of that, yeah, I realized that I have to do a level of experimenting. But the experiment that I just did, it definitely gave me a clear focus on, made my focus more clear on how I want to move forward with this channel. One of them was about the past midterm elections, particularly the ones in Texas, and my experience going to vote. Because originally I wasn't going to go vote, but I decided to go ahead and do it. And then the other one was about the passing of Takeoff. That hit the culture, hip hop community, everybody worldwide just couldn't believe that Takeoff was, A-list star, Migos. I don't have to explain to you guys who it is if you're watching this channel. So, but I didn't even want to make those videos really in the first place. I haven't believed in the political system in quite some time. And I also wasn't that much of a Migos fan, but though I did feel that enormous loss because I do realize like what he meant to so many people and to the culture as a whole. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to make either one of those videos. Why did I make them? Because I thought that they were going to get a lot of views. These were the hottest topics on the internet at the time. There's another page that I follow, content creator, They Know Info. Shout out to Stan the Man if you're watching. But they posted that they got like some thousand number of followers on Instagram like overnight just from posting pictures of Takeoff's funeral. And that's what all this was, just pictures from the funeral. And I was like, okay, well, it only makes sense for me to get on here and talk about this because everybody's like searching this right now. So let me do this now. And I wove my overall message into both of those videos. Like what I said was in fact from the heart. But the problem was like my motive of doing it wasn't. And I didn't feel good about those videos after I posted them. So I ended up deleting them both, even though one of them, the strategy worked on. Was my second highest viewed video at the time it was posted. And then the other one actually didn't do well at all. That was the Takeoff one. And then another thing is the comments on the voting one. It looked eerily similar to my Facebook comments from back in my days when I was into politics and arguing with motherfuckers over McCain and Obama and Black Lives Matter versus the trumpets and shit like that. That's why I call them trumpets. They're loud and they sing for Trump. But anyway, so I didn't create my page for that type of reason. I started this YouTube channel so I could build like kind of like a fresh start, like away from that type of shit. That type of thing is why I wanted to get off of like away from Facebook. Is why I started using it less and less over the years. I was like, this isn't what I was going for. Like, and I realize I can't control who's gonna comment on my page, and I know everybody ain't gonna like my shit. But the thing is like there's some things that like fuel debates and other things that there's more camaraderie inspiring. I want to be relatable, not debatable. I came up with that the other day. So that's what I want my channel to be about. I want to be somebody you can relate to, not debate with. That's what I'm going for here. So yeah, so I just had to go back to searching my heart and getting back to like why I started this channel in the first place, and that was to share my journey with shadow work. Here in the last year, like I've overcome like so much. I've had to face myself and really look at what was there. And I was afraid to for so long, and I've been putting it off for so long because I was afraid of what I'd find. And what I found was my inner being, my inner God, my source energy. Like I finally connected with that. Like after kind of like purposely disconnecting myself from it through my whole atheist phase, because at first that was the shit that I was on. I was like, okay, I know I don't believe in God in the traditional sense or in any religion, be it Christianity, Islam, what have you. I know I'm not that type of person, but at the same time, like I feel that there's just more going on here. I'm not on the atheist side either, where I feel like everything's just math and coincidence. no, that can't be it either. You know, like I feel something else going on here, you know, and meditation was the beginning of me getting in touch with that. I actually started meditating, like I meditated for the first time like years and years ago, but I didn't start consistently doing it until last year. And I've made like crazy progress since then. And like that's something I've become really passionate about. And I wanna, what we look at prayer as, like meditation to me actually achieves. And you know, when in my first video, I posted the Welcome to Shadow Gym video, which actually might delete that one too. I have a shirt that says, stop praying and start meditating on the back. You know, at first, see, this is even something else that's changed since I started this channel. I don't even really want to push that message anymore, because it's like, ultimately, whatever gets you in touch with that source energy inside you, no matter what avenue you take. I feel like religion can be an avenue to take you there, but it can also be an avenue to other negative things as well. But I feel like whatever gets you in touch with that inner peace, that inner calm, that inner happiness, that inner knowing that you are love, that you are loved, you're meant to experience joy. You are joy at your core. Like whatever gets you feeling good enough to be good and do good, that's the key here. So yeah, that's what I want to do with this channel, and I want to create a space for it on YouTube, especially like a space for other black men like myself, where like, you know, this information is still, you know, kind of like foreign to us, and we don't, there's a lot of us, especially like men in general, but black men too, that don't like really take this serious. They see it as like a girls type thing. So I want to like set an example that is like, no, like this isn't just like something that the chicks are into and that you act like you're into to get their attention. You know what I'm saying? Like this is real. Like you have a soul. You know, I understand that like how it presents itself in us is like it's neurons firing off and chemical reactions going in our brain. But that's just the way that source energy interacts with our bodies to manifest itself in our, like in the present in our lives. So as far as me sharing my shadow work journey, I've been doing a lot of it lately. You know, the thing that kicked my shadow work journey back off, I should say, a year ago was a breakup. Well, it wasn't even really a breakup. It was just like a failed relationship talking phase. We didn't technically start dating, but, you know, essentially I fell in love with a girl and it didn't work out. When that happened, every negative thought that I ever thought about myself in my life, it's like I just was just getting jumped by them, like constantly, like just like emotionally jumped. I blame myself for so fucking long for that. And like sometimes like those thoughts still come up, and I have to remind myself that I'm human. You know, I'm human, and I'm still down here learning. That's all we're all doing. We're all learning and doing our best. I had to talk myself out of the story that I was telling myself, that I blew the love of my life, that I'm never going to get another chance at love and stuff like this. I was most upset with myself because like I had never felt anything like that before. So therefore in my mind, I was like, okay, this must be the only thing like this. So if I fuck this up, it's over with. And that type of energy is what kind of like just took over my whole energy, and just, you know, it ended up just fucking up the whole energy between us. So at least that's the way I see it happen. I'll probably have to go to therapy about this. But anyway, so, but what ended up happening out of that was also something great though. That's what led me to dig deep inside. Like it led me to ask these questions like, why does this keep happening to me? Because it was part of a story that I tell me that like, girls that I want shit to work out with, or that I want, like it never works out for me. That's like a story I've been telling myself forever, that I don't get the girls that I want. I always just take whatever girls I can get. You know, I didn't realize at the time, you know, what was really at work here, which is like the law of attraction. And through this inner journey that I had to put myself through, that's when I started really like discovering and paying attention to the law of attraction. And then I stumbled upon Abraham Hicks videos. Once I discovered her, I still listen to Abraham. it really put things in perspective to me. It's like, okay, I'm a deliberate creator. Like, I'm creating my existence whether I realize it or not. You see, if you're not careful with thinking about that, then you'll be like, oh shit, then that means everything is my fault. You're blaming yourself. But I finally began to look at it as, okay, that means I have ultimate power over my shit. You know what I'm saying? All I have to do is get in tune with and line up with my inner being, which is the same thing as who I really want to be. The real me I envision myself as. That's who I actually am. I just have to line up with that. Yeah, and then I began to do that. I began meditating regularly. I began exercising, doing all these things that like I knew would help me out. I began to work on my career interview skills, just all these things I knew would help me. And like, in a few months, I had completely changed my situation around. Everything that I didn't have, that I've been longing for that whole year up until then, I ended up with in a matter of months. And I was like, wow, that was like my first time actually experiencing my manifestation power. All these great things start happening to me. I get a new job, new apartment. This had actually happened before I met her, but I was enjoying the time with my son. That was kind of like still like a bit of a new thing. Like everything was just going great, except for one thing. All these great things were happening except for one thing. I didn't find a new girl, or the girl who I was talking to. I actually spent the longest time like just literally studying ways to attract back your ex, or attract somebody who you thought you lost back. That was my initial goal, and then I kind of let that go, and now I'm like, okay, well, I just want love in general, be it her or anybody else. And it was that's something that I just started focusing on, and the more I focused on it, the more the lack of it began to affect me, and it made me start to think things like, man, maybe I ain't got this law of attraction shit down, or fucking maybe I'm not as worthy as I think I am. Like, those things start creeping in. It just eventually led me to try to get that type of attention like more and more through all kinds of other avenues. And it also led me back to my social media addiction. And I call it addiction because, I mean, what else do you call it when you literally can't go 5 seconds without checking to see who's watching your story, or who likes if somebody likes your shit, even though you just posted it 17 seconds ago, and things like that. And that led me to realize that both of those, both the whole relationship thing and the social media thing, these were becoming, like serious points of contrast in my life. Like, these are two things that were making me feel like shit. The fact that I was single, and the fact that, my YouTube, my Instagram and shit didn't blowing up and stuff like that. Or I'm just like looking at who sees it. It's because of validation. And this has been, and I recognize and I realize that this has been like my main wound, like my need to prove myself, or have other people think I'm worthy. I need to hear other people say that to me, just care of what other people think. Like, that's always been like the bane of my existence. And in my shadow work journey up until then, like, I made like tremendous progress with that, but I was disappointed in myself when that manifested into me, feeling bad about myself, which then made me feel worse about the whole dating thing, which made me feel worse about everything else. And then my performance at work began to slack. I began to get way more subconscious and nervous and shit while I was at work, and being less and less authentic. And I didn't get fired from the job, but my contract ended, and then I ended up losing my job. And that was the next thing that sent me into like this second, now, coming into meet with myself back again. And it's highlighting those same things on top of a couple more. Essentially, I forgot who I was. I allowed that one thing that I allowed something, like the one thing in my life that wasn't going right, to snowball and take control of my whole vibration. When I was watching the video, Abraham Hicks, she said this. She said that like this is like kind of like how this works if you're not careful, But it's also on the flip side of that, like if everything's going wrong, and you focus on the one thing that you do that is going right, i.e., things that you're grateful for, then that energy and that vibration can snowball and take over your whole shit too, and have everything going right. So basically, it just comes back to all about what I'm focused on, man. And right now, as far as what I'm doing, I can tell you I'm meditating a whole lot more. I upped my meditation up to 10 minutes. I started off with 5, then I moved it up to 7, and now I'm doing 10 minutes a day. And I guess 20 minutes because I do it before I go to sleep now too. I'm working out again religiously. Just things that make me feel good, that make me feel confident again. Things that I can control, that I can do now, that'll give me the sense of what I'm looking for. Because the manifestations that I'm wanting are just, I realize I only want them because of how I feel like they'll make me feel. And I know how manifestation works. It's what you feel and what you focus on. What you feel and what you focus on. So in me trying to just force myself to feel good and focus on like things I feel like will benefit me, that caused the things that I was ignoring to snowball. Like, you can't just ignore your feelings. That's another thing that I forgot. Like, you have to feel it to heal it. There's so many negative emotions that I just kind of glossed over with just positive thinking. Until you get to the root of those negative emotions and thoughts, they're gonna keep coming, and they're gonna keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You just turning your back to it, and it's just getting bigger behind you until a point where you can't ignore it anymore. And that led to I called my friend the other day. I was like, "Hey, did I have an anxiety attack?" My face was hot as fuck, and I felt really angry and nervous, like kind of like at the same time. And I started perspiring. Sometimes I can't breathe. She was like, "Yeah, that sounds like an anxiety attack." But I'm getting better now. But essentially, there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no timeline. There's only you and your inner being. How connected are you to it, and how you feel about your right now. Time exists to us humans. Time doesn't exist to Source or God, whatever you want to call it. The only thing that Source, God, the universe acknowledges is this moment, because it continues on forever. You know what I mean? There's no such thing as time to it. The only thing it acknowledges is right now. It responds to how you feel right now. It's all about doing what you have to do to feel the best as possible. And that includes doing the inner digging, doing the inner work to figure out what's making you feel bad in the first place. And when you get down to it, it just comes down to stories, man. There's stories and by stories I mean like events, things that happen to us, or actually just like statements that people have made to us that stick with us, that we get from external sources, but then we internalize them and then live our life based off of it. Another thing that I felt that I had to remind myself of is no negative emotion or negative thought is actually yours. Okay? Anything negative that you think or feel about yourself is not actually yours. You got that from somewhere else, or it came from some situation, or you deducted it from somewhere. It didn't originate with you. The only thing that originates with you is love, good feelings. That's who we all naturally are at our core. Just that sometimes we just allow shit to disconnect us from that. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. I got so good at numbing my emotions for so long before I started my spiritual journey. Like, I was just in so much pain, just emotional pain, like all the time. If I felt like I should be doing way more, I should have way more, I should be who I want to be, like right now, like not even realizing that I was the one cutting myself off from that the whole time by people pleasing, by listening to other people's advice over my own intuition, shit like that. And it'd be so bad to like I'd like even like have accomplishments and achievements, and I would feel like shit afterwards, and I couldn't figure out why. You know, to be honest, I don't even really know if I even have an answer for that now. But all I do know is that I know how I want to feel. I know how we're meant to feel. That I know that once I made it a priority to feel that way above anything else, that's when shit changed for me. You know, I was disappointed in myself for finding myself in essentially the same place that I was last year, a year later. And I was like, but wait, like, dude, don't you realize that, like, you were in this spot right before the biggest breakthrough you've ever had. And now you have even more learning. Now you understand yourself on an even deeper level now. So, you know, imagine what's finna happen now.